Alright guys, welcome back. A lot has happened lately in the last couple of episodes. Just a little bit of a recap. We're restoring my 1997 Honda Civic, and we made ourselves a to-do list, and we're getting down there. Um, so far, what we have done, we've changed the battery, we've repaired the brake lines, we've verified all the other brakes, we replaced the rear drums, the lines that were broken, we bled the system, and we verified the front to make sure everything is in working order. I removed and replaced the cross member. So now we're down to just routine maintenance. What we're going to be doing is doing the oil change of the engine, transmission fluid. I'm going to verify the spark plugs, verify the cap and the rotor, and yeah, we're just going to do a little bit of a maintenance in the engine compartment. Before we do that, I'm just going to show you guys the tools that I'll be using to do all this. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at that. All right, so some pretty basic tools that you'll be needing to do some regular maintenance on your car. Um, this is more specific for my 1997 Honda Civic, but in general, it's all roughly about the same thing. So to start, for an oil change, what you're going to need is a key to unscrew the drain plug. Depending on your make and model of car, you'll have to just verify the size. On most Hondas, it's 17 millimeter. So I have a 17 millimeter key to drain the oils. To remove your oil filter, you can have two ways. You either have a large channel lock pliers, or I strongly suggest a oil filter remover. It's made for many different types of makes and models, and all you got to do is you open it up, put it on the oil filter, and then you take your ratchet, slide it inside, and you can unscrew it. And while you're unscrewing it, it has little teeth on the side, so it gives it force to unscrew the oil filter. You will need a oil filter. I got mine from my Honda dealership, and the drain plug washer to make sure it does not leak. You'll also need the proper grade of oil that goes into your engine. Usually it's written on the filler cap. I'll show you guys that later on in the video. And just verify in your owner's manual or online, see how much oil goes into the car. Over the years working as a technician, I know that in these models 1.6, it's about 3.7 liters of oil that goes in the car. So I got 5 liters. For our transmission fluid flush, what we're going to need, the same thing, is going to need a ratchet, because the drain plug is just a socket. You pop it in and remove the drain plug. You'll also need the washer for the drain plug and the according fluid that goes into your vehicle. For the Honda Civic, I went and got, again at my Honda dealership, the ATF that goes for my specific car, and they sold me 3 bottles. Again, I know roughly through the years it's about 2.5, 2.8 that goes inside the automatic transmission. It doesn't flush everything, because in a whole transmission there's about 8 liters of oil depending on which make and model, but you don't get all of that when you do a flush, unless you hook up the big machines and then you do a complete flush. But just for a normal flush that you can do at home, just drain it through the drain plug and refill. To fill it back in, depending on your make and model, on the Honda Civic, we just got to refill it through the dipstick. So we're going to need a filler. We're also going to be looking at the spark plugs. So I went ahead and purchased 4 spark plugs for my car. You're going to need a spark plug remover. You'll wonder why I have a drill bits and a tap set. Well, later on in the video I'll show you that. A little bit of a mishap, but like I said, I will show you that. So we're going to go ahead and start draining the oils. Alright, so as you can see, there is my drain plug. I'm going to take my 17 millimeter socket and just open it and let the oil drain out. And up on top, a little bit higher, and I'll show you in a little second, the oil filter is just a little bit higher. We will remove it and let that drain as well. Alright, so now that the oil is dripping, you're going to take a little bit of oil, put it on your finger, take your oil filter, and lubricate the seal with some old oil. And then you just got to put it back. Why do we lubricate the seal? So that for the next time, it's not going to stick to the block due to the heat. Another thing is when you're removing the other oil filter, make sure that this seal does not stay up where the oil filter is, because sometimes it does stick to the block. So just always take a look and make sure that the seal is on your old oil filter before putting on the new oil filter. Alright, so now that you've drained the oil, you just want to go ahead and tighten the drain plug. When it's an aluminum washer that's there, you don't have to over tight it. So just tight it, just give it a good snug tight. Same thing with the oil filter. Usually hand tighten oil filter is more than enough. You don't ever want to over tighten your oil filter, because if you do, what happens is that you might strip the threads on either the oil filter or the oil filter screw. So just hand tight. Make sure it's clean and hand tight. So everything is good. We're going to go ahead and move on to replacing the transmission fluid. Alright, so we're now moved on to the automatic transmission fluid. Here is the drain plug. As you can see, it's a square and it fits exactly a ratchet. So what we're going to do is we're going to get in there, unjam it, and there you go. Took it out. And let the fluid come out. And as you can see, on this one is a little bit bigger of a drain plug, and at the end there is a magnet. What happens is that it collects all the little particles that are in the transmission. Don't worry if it's a little bit dirty. You just got to wipe it off. This one is a little bit more dirtier than usual, but that's okay, because I know that my transmission was a little bit, it's been sitting for a while, so maybe all that debris just sat to the bottom. So just got to clean it off with a rag. And again, same thing. It has a aluminum washer on it, and we're just going to remove it, and we're going to replace it. Same thing like the engine oil, just going to want to let it drip for a bit. You don't need to let it drip for too long. I'm going to let it go for maybe another 30-40 seconds, and then I'll put the plug in. Alright, so now to fill your engine oil. Pretty basic. You got your filler, open filler cap. Like I said before, on the filler cap it usually says what type of rate of oil goes into your car. This one is 5W30. I'm just going to take a funnel and I'm going to add about 3.7 liters into the engine. And I will check with my dipstick afterwards. It might not be an accurate measurement because the car is on an incline a little bit, but afterwards when I put the car on all four tires and it'll be even, I'll have a better indication of how the engine oil level is. So we're going to go ahead and just fill the engine with engine oil. All right, for the 1997 Honda Civic, to not only verify your transmission fluid levels, but to refill it, it's from the dipstick, which is right here. So we're just going to remove this dipstick. Be careful that there's nothing that falls inside. And we're going to just take the long funnel, stick it in the hole, and we're going to fill. There's usually a muffler for the air intake here. I removed it just to give myself a little bit more space so that when we're filling it up, and for another reason that I'll show you in just a little bit. So you'll see on the dipstick that there is a 2 double line, a little gray zone, and another double line. What you want is that when it's hot, when the engine oil is hot, it goes up to the top. So when you're filling it, you want to leave it maybe about half. I know the car is on an incline, so that I added about 2.1, 2.2 liters of fluid. Once the car is down on the ground, I'll run it through the gears and it should be fine. All right, so now that the fluids are replaced, next thing we're going to do is we're going to verify the spark plugs. I'm going to replace them just the same because it's been a while since I have changed them. So I'm going to remove them, show them to you, show them what they're supposed to look like, and then we're going to go ahead and look at the cap and the rotor. So to remove your spark plug wires, basically just got to be careful. Pop it out. And if you don't remember, mark it down. But it's pretty simple on these ones. Shorter cables go to a cylinder number 4. Another quick tip is that usually cylinder number 1 is usually the one that's always closest to the timing belt. So you have cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4, inline 4-cylinder. And again, if you would see any cracks on the spark plug wires, it would be a good idea to replace them. This is where your handy spark plug remover comes in handy. All right, so the spark plugs are not so bad, as you can see. Yes, there's some carbon buildup on them. The V is pretty distinguishable. The front has a little bit of a squarage, but in the back, as you can see, it's rounded out. And there has been some overheating because I've had these for maybe about 60,000 kilometers. And also I haven't been driving the cars a lot of just start, move. So we're going to go ahead and install new ones. As you can see here, it's square, and the V has all of its contact points, giving a good spark. I don't have to gap them because they were already gapped at the dealers. So we're going to go ahead and replace all 4 of the spark plugs. All right, so as you saw before, I just put all 4 spark plugs back into their cylinders hand tight using my spark plug remover. Good tip, I suggest everyone get one of these. What's pretty cool about them is that there's like a rubber seal inside, so that when you're installing your spark plugs, you're not just throwing the spark plug into the cylinder and might be damaging the electrode. What happens here is that because of the rubber, it goes inside, it stays in there, and See, it's good. So back to tightening. I tighten it by hand. I'm going to go in. On the spark plug, there's a collapsible gasket. What you're going to do is you're going to tighten it till it gets to the end. Can't tighten no more. And I usually give about a quarter turn after that. And do the same thing with all four. Tight and a quarter turn. Tight and a quarter turn. You don't want to tighten it too tight either, because you don't want to snap the ceramic off the spark plug and afterwards it's stuck in there. It's happened to me once many years ago, and it's, I'm gonna tell you guys, it's not fun. But yeah, you either have two options: try and get that part of the spark plug out, or you got to remove the head. So be careful and don't over tighten your spark plugs. So now we're going to go ahead and remove the cap to verify the inside of the cap and the rotors. I already went ahead and loosened the bolts for the cap. There's 3 of them. And remember when I said in the beginning of the video, the drill bits and tap set? Well, that's why. One of the bolts of the cap broke inside the distributor. So as an added bonus today, I'm going to show you guys how to drill out and remove a broken bolt inside the distributor. I'm going to try and do it without removing the distributor altogether. If not, if there was no space or anything, what I would do is I would just mark here the distributor onto the head with a line, and then remove the 3 bolts, take the distributor out, unplug it, go to the shed, and inside the vise I would drill it out. But again, see, like I said before, I removed the air box not only just to refill the transmission fluid, but I also knew that it broke, so it gives me more space. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So inside the cap, you got your 4 points and your main distributor. Just gotta look at the 4 distribution points and make sure that there's no corrosion, or that they're not all rounded or broken. Here they look pretty good. Everything is pretty round. There's no corrosion. There's no water that's been inside. Doesn't look like it's cracked. So the cap I'm gonna keep. And the same thing with my rotor. It's pretty used pretty evenly, so everything looks fine. The gasket as well. So what I'm going to go ahead now is I'm going to fix and try to drill out that broken bolt. All right, again, so this is where the bolt broke inside the distributor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little punch. I'm going to try and punch it as center as I can with my punch and my hammer, and I'm going to start drilling with a smaller drill bit and get bigger until I get just flush of where the housing is, so I don't ruin the threads. So when I'm tapping it, it's not going to get bigger. I'm going to be hopefully tapping the same threads that are already there. At the same time, I'll give you guys a little bit of a tour of what's in this distributor. So we have a pickup coil, and we have an igniter inside with a with another sensor that's just right here, and that is your rotor. So what happens is that 12 volts goes inside, gets transformed, the spark comes out of the coil, gets distributed by the distributor cap. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drill out this bolt. Guys, wish me luck. Alright, so it didn't go as planned. While I was drilling in the screw, my drill bit decided to break inside the distributor while drilling, and I can't get it out. So what we're going to have to do now is I'm going to remove the distributor, and we're going to go to the shed and we're going to drill it out from the back. So I'm just going to remove the 3 bolts that hold the distributor in place. Don't forget to disconnect your wiring, your harness from the distributor. We're going to pop it out like this. Give it a little bit of a tug. It should come right out. There you go. And as you can see, there is a little seal. Be careful. And at the end of the distributor, you have 2 little tabs that go into the camshaft. Just make sure when you're reinstalling it that you make sure those 2 tabs go into the proper slots. One is smaller than the other. So let's go ahead and move to the shed. All right, so I've already gone ahead and did my punch, and now I'm going to drill from the back side. So hopefully by drilling it through, I'll be able to get out the drill bit and we'll be okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to drill. Alright, so success. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our tap, and I'm just tapping the threads. I was able to drill it through properly all the way with all the different types sizes that I needed. I got close enough so that I could just take the tap, and I'm just re-tapping the threads. And now we're taking the screw from the distributor, and I'm just going to test it out, make sure that my threads hold. So we're just going to thread it through. As you see, perfect, it works. So now we're going to go back to the car and reinstall everything on the car. All right, so we're back to the car. We're just going to clean up the area here where the distributor goes back into the head. We're just going to tidy this up a little bit. All right, we're going to take our distributor. I'm going to put a little bit of dielectric grease on the seal of the distributor so that it slides in nicely and gives it a nice seal so there's no oil that will leak. Keeps the seal hydrated, but it also doesn't make the seal expand. So again, be careful. Make sure that your 2 pins slide into the groove. There you go. Slide it back to our mark, and then we can go ahead and install our bolts. A good thing to do is also, because we were drilling and there's a lot of metal shards that can fall into the distributor, either blow it out or try and remove the rotor, and so that you can remove this retainer so that you can clean off any metal shards that may have fallen in there, because it's all magnet and you don't want that to fall in there, so when it's spinning it can ruin any of the sensors or the pickup coil. All right, a bit tight there. And again, you don't want to over tighten anything. And don't forget to plug in your main harness and slide it back. Another thing I would do is maybe just put a little bit of dielectric grease on the cap side so that it does a good seal as well. So there's no water that would go inside to cause a misfire. So I'm going to go ahead and install the cap, tighten it up, and put the 4 spark plugs into the holes. All right, so there you have it. Distributor back on, new bolt, new screw. Everything is good. Everything's plugged in. Everything's tight. We're gonna go start the car and hope everything is good. running smoothly. All right, so there we have it. We did an oil change. We did a transmission fluid flush. We verified the 4 spark plugs and we replaced them. We verified our cap and our rotor that everything is okay. Unfortunately, there was a bolt that broke in the distributor, but for us, it's lucky that I got to show you guys how to fix it. Yes, it was a little bit harder than expected. I had to end up going to the shed, but it's okay. It's all good. That's what happens when you work on cars. And when you love working on cars, it doesn't matter, right? So um, let's go ahead and take this off the to-do list. Regular maintenance. Also with regular maintenance, I would be also verifying the antifreeze and changing or verifying the brake fluid, which we've already did, and power steering fluid, which we already did. The antifreeze, it's okay. I already replaced it last year, so I didn't have to replace it this year. But if you were to, all you have to really do is just open the radiator, flush all the fluids, close the valve, refill the system, let the car run until the fans turn on, and then um, even out your fluid to make sure everything is okay. So there you have it. I know aesthetically, the engine bay is not as clean as it should be, but that'll be our next step. We're going to start giving this car some love and TLC aesthetically. We're going to clean the engine bay outside and we'll go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe and follow, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, bye guys.